Blue Water CRM, cloud-based CRM software specifically designed for collection agencies, debt buyers, and sellers. Let's log in. You can see we're logged in as an admin or a supervisor. And in this video, this is step 3 in setting up your Blue Water CRM portal. Let's go to the left-hand side and click on Account Management. When I click on Account Management, I can see 4 separate links. So we click on Review Advisor Request. And when we see that, we get a snapshot of any collector that has requested a particular account to be given to them or to be put in their queue. As we look from left to right, we have the ability to approve this request, decline it. We can see the account number, which is a hyperlink, and we can click on that hyperlink to get more information about this particular account. We can see the reason. If I mouse over, I can see that we wrote, I would like to work this. Now, in real life, you'd like to see a little more detail on why this account might move from one employee to another. We can see what client ID this is. It can also show right here the current status of this account. So more than likely, the requesting person had a phone contact and thinks they can close this, so they've requested to have it put into their account so they can get commission on it. Next column, we can see who the user is that requested this, who the current user is, and what queue it currently is in. If we go to the right, we can see right here a bunch of different queues that are set up, and we can actually move it to one of those queues for this particular requested REM1 request. Many of you will have queues that are specifically designed for a collector, so REM1 may have his own queue that they personally work. We can actually simply move it to their particular queue. But for now, I'm going to set it into new queue, which is owned by REM1. This will move it there when I hit submit. Now you can actually see hundreds of different requests. You can queue it right here and hit global submit, and it will submit it directly to those collectors all at once. So let's click on the next link, Review Queue. When I click on Review Queue, I get a snapshot of all of the accounts in my system, as well as the employees that have been assigned those particular clues. Depending on the size of your organization, you may want to look up employees by a letter. So if you click on the letter, it would actually go by name to that particular person and help you look them up. So if you have a lot of people, this is a great tool. You can see in your system right now that 17 accounts do not have a call date. There are 19 accounts that have a future work. There are no accounts that are due today, and there are no accounts past due. And there's a total of 90 accounts in the system at this point. You can see right here the different users within the system. So this first name, last name, user ID of that person, how many accounts they are assigned, how much of it is future work, how many accounts for today, how many are past due, how many promise to pays do they have, and how many promise today's for future. If you notice right here, some of the users have the same amount of accounts. The reason that that is the case is because they have the same queue to assign to them. So that's why you see these same numbers. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click on user 2. Let's click on user 2. When I click on user 2, I get a snapshot for information on that particular user. So I can see on this particular one, there's 0 accounts with no call date. I have 19 accounts with future work. No accounts are due today, and total past due accounts are 47. I can see all the current queues that are assigned to this user, and then the breakdown over here as to what's going on with it. I can delete that person from this queue, and I can get general information about what's going on. I'm going to hit the back button. Let's look at Assign Queue. When I click on Assign Queue, we can see all the accounts that are in the system. If you notice, you can see the queue name, you can see the total accounts that are in that particular queue, and on the right-hand side, you can see who that queue is assigned to. If you notice, there's a couple of these without any people assigned to it. What I'm going to do right now is let's look at this queue right here, EST calls. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to click Assign. When I click Assign, I can see the departments that I have as well as the remote offices. So I'm going to go to Customer Service, and I'm going to take this particular queue, and I'm going to assign it to Agent 1 and User 2. When I hit Submit, the system will take those records, and it'll actually assign them to those 2 employees. So the next time they log into the system, they will see the information about these particular queues. And we can see right now the account has gone up from 90 to 98 because we added those accounts. And we can see that those accounts now have been added. Now, one of the things that you're going to inevitably want to do is move counts around. Let's go to Edit Delete Queue. Okay, when we see Edit Delete Queue, again, we can see the exact same queues that we saw before. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to take some of the accounts and move them around. Let's look at follow-up queue 1, follow-up 2, and let's do this. Let's edit these queues. So I'm going to hit Edit. Now, I see right here, this is a query system that allows you to further take those accounts and pull information out of them. So let's say I wanted to set up a queue with just first-party conversations. I could click that, and of the queues that I've chosen, this will actually take it out and only pull the first parties. I can look for home phones, DNC home phone, other phones, post dates. So there's a bunch of different ways I could take the accounts that I currently have, yank the information out that I want, and create specific queues. So if I wanted to create a specific skip tracing queue, I may go in and say, okay, I want to pull all accounts that don't have a home phone number. So home phone number, no, I click that, and that'll pull every account in the system that I've pulled right here and give me the accounts that have home phone. I can create a queue called no home phone and give it to my skip tracing department. But for purposes of this, I'm just going to hit search data. I hit search data, and here's all of the accounts that we have across those two queues. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to take all of them. I'm just going to take some of them. Let's take those accounts and let's do edit queue. And when I edit queue, it's going to give me a couple of choices. It's going to say I can choose queue. I can create a new queue. I can create new multiple queues. I can insert into existing queue or insert into existing multiple queues. We try to think of everything when it comes to helping you manage the accounts in your system. For this, we're going to click Create Multiple New Queues. When I click on that, I have the ability to choose a particular call date or to clear the current call date. But for this, I'm going to change date to call, and I'm going to change it to, let's change it to January 3rd. You can see the number of queues is 2. I can increase that up to 11 if I wanted to. I'm going to name one of the queues Make Calls 1 and Make Calls 2. You can see below I have account distribution. I can evenly separate these accounts into their queues, or I can put a specific number into each queue. I can also distribute the breakdown a little bit different based on principal balance or based on time zone. For the purpose of this, I'm going to do it evenly, and I'm going to do it across principal balance. When I do it evenly, that means, let's say there's 10 accounts in the particular query that I'm running, and the dollar amount goes from 1 to 10. What the system will do if you do it evenly, it'll give a $10 account to one queue, a $9 account to another queue, an $8 and a 7, and so on. That way it's a little more evenly distributed. Let's hit submit. When I hit submit, it tells you the breakdown. Remember, we had an odd number, so we had 11. So Make Calls 1 has 5 accounts, Make Calls 2 has 6 accounts, and I'm going to hit submit. Queue has been created. Now that the queue has been created, we can see the two queues that we created, Make Calls 1 and Make Calls 2. And if you notice, these have not been assigned because we have not assigned them yet. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to click Make Calls 1, Make Calls 2, hit Assign. And I'm going to assign this to the skip tracing department, employee skip 1. I hit Submit. You could see after I hit Submit that now those accounts have been given to our skip person. You can see right here, they inherited a bunch of different accounts, and you can see the 11 right here with the future work because we changed the date. In this video, you learned how to assign queues to employees, You learn how to edit and delete queues to move accounts around from one queue to another queue or from one collector to another collector. You also learned about the review queue snapshot, which allows you to see the basic information for the accounts in the system. How many with the call date, how many future accounts, how many with promises, and so on.